What's going on, you guys? My name is Jonathan Dickinson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And in this book review, we're going to be talking about this book right here, Capitalism and Freedom by Milton Friedman. And so I just finished this book about a week ago. And this, honestly, along with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, honestly, two of my top books ever. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy the way Milton Friedman writes. I like how he lays out his arguments. I like how he addresses the counter arguments. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed that in any book. But anyway, to get right into it, I just want to start with if you don't know who Milton Friedman is, he's a Nobel laureate. He was a professor at the University of Chicago. He's an economist, a prized economist, and a free market advocate. Based on his standards, and in this book, he proclaims to be a liberal. I think by today's standards, a lot of people would label him as a libertarian. But anyway, some of the themes in this book, Capitalism and Freedom, he argues that political freedom and economic freedom are inextricably linked. So that the less political freedom you have, you'll have less economic freedom. And he lays it out in different contexts. So capitalism and alleviating poverty, discrimination, and different aspects like that are played today. And he begins by laying out how we got our currency, essentially, and how the gold standard played a role, and how we used the gold standard for a little bit, but not really. And we kind of did a little bit of shady stuff to buy people's gold. And even at one point, it was illegal to own gold in the U.S. I didn't know that. That was super cool to find out. Milton Friedman's really good at laying out his arguments and really addressing all the counterpoints, all the issues that people might have with what he's suggesting. And he does suggest some things that are a little out there. I don't want to say a little out there, but one of the things that he argues is that credentials and that certifications are just a way for an organization to keep other people out. So if you are a welder and you're requiring all welders that are coming in to be certified, or at least if the government requires welders to be certified in order to work with clients, well, that's just a way for welders who are already certified, they can work, and then just puts a barrier of entry to welders who are outside, whether it be monetary or whatever it may be. And he even advocates this for medical doctors, that you shouldn't be licensed. I don't know if I can be on board with that. I think if I was having open heart surgery, I'd want to have my surgeon that have the best residency, the best at Johns Hopkins, Harvard Medical School degree. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. And so, in the book, I want to highlight two main points that he brings up that I thought are really interesting. The first one being the neighborhood effect. So he obviously, his approach is the less government intervention, the better. He does make some exceptions, and I think that, and this is one, the neighborhood effect is the basis for legitimate intervention by the government, in his opinion. And so this is essentially, what is a neighborhood effect, you ask? Essentially, if I have a product, say it's this book, I can distribute to somebody, and this book has a value for that person. And different units of this book bring value to each person. So you can charge that person. So if I have $10, this person who I'm giving it to gives me $10. But what the neighborhood effect is that this product brings value to many people that's hard to quantify. And so what does that mean? One of the examples he gives by the neighborhood effect is schooling. And so schooling, it does give a benefit to the child who's receiving an education, but it also gives a benefit to the community who now has a child who is socialized, a child who can be a contributing member of society, and a child who's now productive. So, the benefits are more than just the child getting education. It's the community at large who's benefiting from this child who's now educated. And another example he gives is parks, like neighborhood parks. If you have a park and it's maintained by a private corporation, you can't just you can charge people access to that park, but if it's in a neighborhood, the benefit of a well-kept park is accrued by the surrounding residents of that park, because now you have a nice park to look at. You might have fresh air because you have nice big trees or shade. So it's hard to quantify who exactly are you going to charge. You're going to charge those people in the residency who maybe have never been to your park, but they still, benefit from the shade or from the clean air, what have you. So I thought that was really interesting. So Milton Friedman argues that this is a legitimate case for why the government should intervene, because if you have a private company, you can't charge everybody, and it's hard to scale that charge. So that's really cool. And then another idea that really pervades not only this book, but different economists who come from the University of Chicago, being Thomas Sowell, Friedrich Hayek, is this idea of paternalism. And what he means by this is the government is kind of forcing its help upon people who they deem to need it, even though they might not have asked for it. And what this means is, an example he gives is the Social Security system. So essentially what he says the Social Security system is, let me just read his own words so I don't have to paraphrase him. People could, if they wished, decide to do individually what the law requires them to do as a group. But they are separate, short-sighted, and improvident. We know better than they, that it is in their own good to provide for their old age to a greater extent than they would voluntarily. We cannot persuade them individually, but we can persuade 51% or more to compel all to do what is in their own good. This paternalism is for responsible people, hence does not even have the excuse of concern for children or madmen. So I guess what he's saying here is that this paternalistic nature is that I know better, I know what is good for you. You may think you do, but you really don't. I need to help you, and so you need to give me money so we can create the Social Security system. And what he says at the end, children, for example, children obviously don't have the processing power, like the mental, bandwidth as an adult. That's why you have to have an adult care for children, because children might not know better, but grown adults know what is good for them. They can do what is in their own best interest. But what he is saying is that the government, kind of doesn't think so, and so they think that no, you don't know. We need to take these monetary values in the sense of taxes or what have you, so that we can provide for you what you don't know you need. And not only Milton Friedman, but Thomas Sowell and many of the economists from the University of Chicago, they use this idea as a basis for capitalism, because essentially capitalism is people doing what is in their own best interest. If they need something, they're going to go buy it from wherever they can buy it at the lowest cost, or what have you. In this book, he doesn't argue that capitalism should just go free reign and no government help at all. Like I said, the neighborhood effect, as well as in certain instances, he does contend that the government does have a place in alleviating poverty, and one of the ways he thinks it should do it is a negative income tax. So, should you read this book, or why should you read it? I think the way that Milton Friedman lays out his arguments and addresses all of the points of contention, the points that people might think are controversial, or the points that people might agree with, he'll address all of them in equal footing, which I really appreciate. It's a little jargon heavy if you're not into economics. I know, even though I say I'm in economics, I had to Google a lot of these words. But a little hurting never learning never hurt anybody. So it was dense in that sense. But other than that, his writing is great. It's an awesome book. So yeah, overall I'd give this book 8 out of 10. Awesome book. Really enjoyed it. If you've read the book, let me know what you think. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you agree with many of the points that he talks about? So yeah, that's Milton Friedman, Capitalism and Freedom. If you enjoyed this book review, like, comment, and subscribe. So yeah, see you next time.